All right, welcome to the Meat and Potatoes podcast, a Silicon Slopes production. Meat and Potatoes shines a light on the people in Silicon Slopes who get things done. We explore how, why, and when they get those things done and why their work is the meat and potatoes of Utah's tech and business community. Today we are joined by Danny Noall, who is the founder and CEO of Infuze Hydration. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Thanks for coming on. You're up in Logan, right?
Yeah. Born and raised. I grew up in Wellsville, so the south end of Cache Valley. And then we ended up going to school up here at Utah State and didn't necessarily plan on staying forever in Cache Valley, but I definitely don't complain that we got such a nice place to work from. So,
yeah, very cool. Well, tell us a little bit about Infuze Hydration, and then we'll get into some new line of questions.
Cool. Yeah, so Infuze Hydration was actually started when I was in my master's program here at Utah State. And the reason we started it is I had been backpacking, and we realized how hard it was to stay hydrated when you're hiking, at high elevations or filtering water. Mostly due to the fact of the taste of that water. And so what we did at that time is we had a hydration pack. We dumped in a whole bunch of Tang and Mio into the pack. And to this day, that pack still tastes like Tang, 6 years later. And so, and we also realized while we were hiking that I didn't want 100 ounces of that fruit punch. And so we came up with an idea on the way out that could just add flavor by pushing a button or turning a dial, and then go back to water when you got sick of that flavor. My first concepts were magically going to defy physics because I had not even an understanding of how water flow and engineering and physics worked, which took us about 2.5, 3 years to solve those issues. But that was actually what our patent is based around after we got into the development is solving the reason why no one's made the system before. And so what we created, just to kind of give you a brief explanation of it, is and the reason why no one else has done this is when you have two systems of water hooked together, they want to siphon back and forth the same way as, you can siphon gas out of a car. And so what we did is we created a sealing system that's suction activated, that pulls forward and opens up the port or the valve for the flavor to come in, and then it snaps shut. And then we built into that system a venturi, which creates a metered vacuum, I guess you call it, to vacuum in the flavor. And that's our issued patent. It issued last May, and it has a ton of other applications, into manufacturing and other things, but we've focused on the hydration side of it just because, one, that's where our passion's at, and two, it's the quickest addressable market to kind of get the technology out there. So that happened 2015 to 2017. We were building that system. 2018, March of 2018, we realized that although the hydration pack system was really cool and useful, most people weren't, there it is right there. Most people weren't carrying a hydration pack to work every day unless they were really serious about their hydration, and that everyone had a water bottle. So we took the same technology we built into the hydro system and put it into our water bottle or vessel system. Same time we were actually ready to scrap the hydro because we're just like, this just isn't a big enough market. Let's focus on the majority. It's already done, but let's just focus on the bottle. When we got a phone call to go meet with a retired chief in the Army down at Fort Williams in Georgia. And after a 20-minute conversation, he goes, I want to test these for my boys. And I said, okay, we can do that. He says, these are going to be pre-filled, right? And I looked at my partner, Ben, and we both said, yes, of course. And then we had to learn how to blow mold and how to make a cartridge that was pre-filled and completely redesign and overhaul the system to what it is today. But that's been a huge driver for us and is absolutely the biggest opportunity of the company in general, is what the hydro can do for the military people. So, we spent another year developing that. And then last March is when both products were officially ready. And so we launched the hydro, we launched the vessel March 4th online on infusehydration.com. Our first month we did $10,000 in sales, and we're like, well, people bought it, but geez, we need a little bit more money than $10,000 a month to survive. But we've averaged about 29% growth month over month, including our down months, which, seasonality, those are going to come. But we had a goal to hit $1 million in revenue year one, or first 12 months. We didn't quite hit that. We hit 890,000. But last month we actually had a record-breaking month and did $137,000 online only. And so it took us 13 months to hit $1 million, but we did it. And so it was a big milestone for us. And that same month of March, we actually were approved for our very first military contract as well, which launches the end of, or we deliver the end of April.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sipping a fruit punch concoction. So you put the flavor in here. Flavor packs you can buy separate. Some come with it. It's very yummy. And then this is, of course, for the, the Camelback, and when you're out, shooting bad guys or just hiking in the mountains.
That's right.
Very cool. So yeah, I pinged you. We've been friends for a long time, but I pinged you a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, how's this affecting your business? And I was hoping for a good answer, but I was worried that it would be a bad one, but it was a pretty good answer. So when did you start to worry about the effects of COVID, and how have you guys adjusted accordingly?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's on everybody's mind, and it's on my mind every day. And kind of when we started to worry about it was really the 1st of March, when the cases started to hit. I think they were in Washington at that point. And we always knew, everyone knew it was a matter of time till it got to the point where it was going to affect everybody, but we just didn't realize how fast that was going to be. And so, for us, our seasonal months that were bad, we knew January and February were going to be bad. So we thought, okay, if we can survive these 2 months, we can make it. And so we hit March, sales picked up for the first 5 days, and we're like thinking that we were doing pretty good. And then all of a sudden quarantine, I guess it wasn't an official quarantine, but March 6th was when they kind of told everyone to go home.
Yeah.
And our sales went from $3,500 a day and just tanked down to $1,000 a day. And so I actually went to my partner, Ben, and told him, I was like, hey, we're going to be a little short for payroll. I don't know if you or the two of us can come together and figure out if we can bridge the gap, but none of us are going to get paid this month, but we got to at least cover our hourly employees, so we're keeping everything going. And so we realized pretty quickly that we could be affected by it. And it was a little scary there for a minute, but we did have a turn of luck that definitely helped us out. We had always been doing TikTok videos, and all of our marketing has been on all the platforms for past 6-7 months at least. And we had this video that was just a simple explainer video. It wasn't an ad. It was just showing what the technology was. All of a sudden it got 4.5 million views in 2 days. And our sales went from $1,000 to $10,000 to $16,000. And I thought, okay, this is just a 2-day trend. We've definitely leveled out, but we're averaging right now between $4,000 and $6,000 a day for the past month. And so what was going to be a terrible month, all of a sudden in 3 or 4 days from a little piece of luck, a little piece of content and a lot of luck, we covered our payroll, we covered our immediate receivables, and we were able to pay the remainder of our immediate bills that we had to get taken care of. And so do we worry about it? Like 100%. There's not a day that goes by at the moment that I can't think about, okay, what if we do get forced to shut down? We may get lucky because we have that military contract where we might be able to be defined as essential, but we haven't received that yet. So we've got some contingency plans if we have to go into place to where, we can, my house, we have a shop there that I could do the assembly. One of my other partners has, the manufacturing capabilities. And so it's like, we can juggle it, but there's definitely some issues to be weighed.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the old scramble is in full effect, it sounds like, but you guys are doing very good. What are your plans for the next 3 to 6 months?
So this has been interesting for us because we own almost 100% of our manufacturing. That wasn't on purpose, but it was by necessity as we were building the product. No one would build the parts for us at an affordable cost. And we knew that in order to supply the military, we had to have everything US made. And so we bought our own injection machines a year and a half ago. And Ben has been spending the past 18 months learning how to run those and become quite efficient at them. But we literally own all of our molds. We run all of our own machines to create the parts. And then for the assembly, we've got a 4-person assembly team that can scale up or as we need it to, but those 4 people can create 500 to 700 parts a day. And so we are very confident in our process to be able to fulfill what we need to right now. But what we're planning for is, one, we had retail lined up. I have completely cut retail out of our plan because I just don't think it's going to be a factor right now. Our B2B sales, although I think there's some opportunities in some pretty creative ways, all of a sudden those were gone. If companies are laying people off, they're not buying water bottles for them. And if they are, honestly, they shouldn't be. And so we've had to kind of pivot a little bit on that. But we also have always had a strategy built around driving the brand forward regardless of what channel it was going to be. And what we've always called that we've always referred to it as the Infuze Your Life challenge or campaign. And so about 8 weeks ago, we started development on an app that was built for 2 reasons. One, for our consumer to be able to engage more with the brand and to quote unquote infuse their lives by, setting their own goals, seeing success in those goals. The app helps them track that, but it's really a self-motivation app. Like, we don't tell what the goal should be or how they should do it. They set the goal, they do it. The second aspect of it was a giveaway platform that could create a little bit of an extrinsic motivator for them to fulfill their goal, but also a way for us to capture the data that we need to know. Like, we need to know, are they using the system? What flavors they like? How much water are they drinking with it versus without it? And so if any time someone submits their info for the day, they get entered in for a giveaway. And at the time, it was going to be a $3,000 to $4,000 trip per month that every person that submitted the answer could qualify for. Now that travel has been postponed for the foreseeable future, we're going to have to figure out what the heck we're going to do for this giveaway. But I think that app for a community base is going to be really useful for us, and it's going to finish up here in the next few weeks. But the other piece of this, why it's an opportunity, is this app tags the person to where they originally found the product or heard about the product or used it. So if it's an influencer, or a business or a retailer or a fundraiser, when they get the product, they download the app, they submit for their first entry, and they have to select where they found it from. And then let's say Silicon Slopes, they hear it from this podcast. They say, hey, I heard about this on Meat and Potatoes. I select them. That person is permanently linked to that originator for the existence of the customer. Anything that person buys, we then profit share back to the original source. And so that's actually become a lot more critical on our strategy, because there's not the cash on hand for a lot of companies to buy these products, but we can now offer a huge discount, a huge opportunity for their company or their following or their fundraiser or whatever to get the product. And then they can still get some upside from it as well.
Very cool. Well thought out. Great. All good stuff. So we'll wrap it up here in a minute, but I still have two questions. Are you going to apply for any of these loans?
We've already applied for every single one of them available.
Cool.
I don't know what exactly we're going to qualify for, but one, for the opportunity that is there for, especially the payroll protection plan, the grants, even the bridge loan. There's never been a better terms on a loan that we can qualify, that we've ever qualified for or even applied for. And so 100% we're taking advantage of every one of those opportunities that we can. And that's right now it's working, but let's say everyone's on quarantine and out of a job for another 3 months. Now our strategy gets a little bit trickier because there's not the monthly revenue that they're used to.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we are for sure.
Well, cool. So how did the process go for applying for all those? And did you spread it out amongst various banks, credit unions? Which ones did you go with?
Yeah. The one I went for the payroll protection plan was Lendio. They're a kind of a franchise lender nationwide. Shay Monk owns the office up here in northern Utah. And the reason we went with them is, to be honest, they were the first ones ready. They were the first ones to take the applications that I saw. There might have been a few other banks, but they were the first one able to receive that application. And we went with them just because it was there. And then the process for it was honestly super easy. It took us a total of 20 minutes to fill out the application. And then you had to have your ducks in a row. I mean, you needed to have your 941 or 944. What we learned as we went through the process is that the 1099 aspect of those loans will be open the end of this week. So on April 10th. So this first part is just W-2 employees. The 1099 should come the end of the week. I'm still a little hazy on what it means for partner pay, because we're paid on a K-1 versus a 1099. And I don't even know if that's going to qualify, but any amount of money that you can get for free should be pursued. Yeah. For the SBA ones, we did the grant just on the SBA website. And then for the bridge loans, we've been working with Zions Bank. I just have some relationships there that have been helping us out. And so and every one of these banks and people I've worked with, they've been great just to say, like, look, we want you to get this as bad as you do. So wherever you have to go, however you have to do that, let's just get it done. Cool.
Well, that's a good story there as well. All right, last question. How can folks, if they're parched and thirsty, one, get hydrated, and at the same time supporting a local, purely American-made company?
I think the best benefit of the product itself is that you're able to get so much more water. We have a 250% increase in water intake just when they're using the system, because it tastes better. It's easier to drink 32 ounces and then all of a sudden 64 ounces and all of a sudden a gallon. So the biggest thing you can do is just jump online and buy one. Use the code. I'll make the code right now. We'll just call it Meat and Potatoes. Get on there and we'll give you 20% off on your purchase. We ship within 3 to 5 days right now, just with, making sure everything is extra safe. Share the word to all of your friends. And then that app, once it's out, if you want to follow along and track it and get entered in to win some cool stuff, jump on there and download the app. And yeah, that's the best way we can get any support right now. And if it's a business, like we have corporate discounts, we have just things we can send out to your users that can give them discounts that we're more than happy to work with you on right now.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay, well, glad everything's going as good as it could be, and appreciate you taking the time. Danny Noall, founder and CEO of Infuze Hydration. Have fun and stay safe up in the great north.
That's right. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.